Bitcoin is squeezing together here, and the Bollinger Bandwidth just hit one of the lowest levels seen in a very long time. And the last times this happened, we saw some major Bitcoin moves to the top side. So that's exactly what we need to discuss within today's update video. We'll discuss a lot more than only that, the most important Bitcoin price data, the latest news in the market here, and we will also discuss Ethereum and a little bit of altcoins. So from here guys, make sure to first of all subscribe to the channel and watch and like my latest YouTube video, and from there we can dive in towards the most important content. Since those Bollinger Bands are squeezing together here at one of the tightest levels we've seen in a very long time. The last time we saw the Bollinger Bands squeezing together this hard, with also the Bollinger Bandwidth hitting these ultimate lows here, that was in 2023, and the two times this happened during that year we saw major move higher for Bitcoin. We saw the biggest moves for Bitcoin happening from those Bollinger Bands squeezing together here, and currently the volatility is super low for Bitcoin, but it seems like a major move higher is getting very close here. So it's starting to look quite bullish for Bitcoin. And I do think this major move higher is about to get initiated once Bitcoin breaks out of this bull flag. But currently we are still trading slightly above resistance. But once we are going to break above that, I do think a big Bitcoin move higher is going to be imminent from there. This is going to be the most important consolidation pattern to watch. But this bull flag is most of the times a super bullish continuation pattern for Bitcoin. And another indication of that new big Bitcoin move high being possible here is that global liquidity, because the global liquidity is trending aggressively to the top side. Basically, we have seen all-time high after all-time high for that global liquidity, and in this PO3 pattern we have been exactly following the global liquidity to the top side, but also to the downside in, for example, this consolidation box, and now we are in this big uptrend to the top side once again. So I do think Bitcoin will be following that global liquidity once again, and that last move higher of this bull market is getting super close here. And that does make a lot of sense, because it's happening from a setup we've seen a few times before during this bull market, where Bitcoin enters a new consolidation phase and then grabs the ultimate liquidity below the consolidation phase, just like we've seen here, then breaks back above in the consolidation phase, and from there it basically creates the perfect springboard for a new big move higher. So basically all the charts are currently showing us that a big Bitcoin move higher is getting super close here. And we also have this super important news hitting the market. The US debt just hit a new all-time high. Over 350 billion US dollars was added in a single day. This is the largest US debt increase we've seen since 2024. So that's absolutely insane. And yes, this isn't good for the USA, but it's highly bullish for Bitcoin and crypto. The higher the US debt will go here, the most likely we are going to see more money printing in the near future. And that's going to be a huge catalyst for Bitcoin. Then another fact is that BlackRock now owns 700,000 Bitcoin and is actually catching up to Satoshi Nakamoto here, which is absolutely insane. Just a little fact here, but it shows us how big and crazy that institutional inflow of Bitcoin currently is. And yesterday we saw somewhat of a smaller inflow for the Bitcoin spot ETFs, 80 million US dollars. So it's a little bit smaller than we have seen in the last few days, but ultimately it's still going to be bullish. And if you take a look into towards the Ethereum spot ETF, we saw an inflow of over 40 million US dollars once again. And in both scenarios, BlackRock was the biggest buyer of those ETFs once again. They've been buying in a super rapid pace here, so that is ultimately making me super bullish here. And guys, if you want to be trading Bitcoin altcoins yourself, make sure you do it on Bluefin. I've linked this platform below under my latest YouTube videos. Make sure to check Bluefin out if you're getting interested in trading Bitcoin altcoins yourself, because once we are going to get that major breakout out of that consolidation zone, there are going to be a lot of opportunities within this market, so don't miss out on exactly that. And now I do want to discuss Ethereum, because Ethereum is actually bouncing exactly from those 2019 and 2020 highs on the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. And yeah, ultimately it's still looking bullish. Currently it's also creating somewhat of a falling wedge here on that Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart. And I do think once we confirm the new higher low here on this Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, it's going to start looking extremely bullish here. And I do think Ethereum is now getting close of breaking out of this accumulation range. And once Ethereum is going to do so, I do think a major move higher for Ethereum will be next out of this big range. I do think from here a price target of $3,000 could be highly likely. So let's see about that. But currently the Ethereum price action is starting to look a lot more bullish here. And also for Ethereum, it would make a lot of sense to initiate a new move from here, because if we compare Ethereum with the Russell 2000, so basically the Ethereum of the stock market, we can clearly see the divergence here, and usually Ethereum catches up with this Russell 2000. So hopefully that will happen once again, but yeah, it's probably going to do so, because just look at the correlation we've seen lately between the stock market and the Ethereum there. So also a quite interesting chart. And then let's discuss a little bit of altcoins, because the others chart is also showing a major squeeze on that Bollinger Bandwidth, just like Bitcoin has been showing us here. Also the altcoins, so the others outside of the top 10, are showing us a major squeeze on that Bollinger Bandwidth. So also for altcoins, it seems like a major move could be getting very close here, because if we take a look into towards what happened last times we did hit these levels on the Bollinger Bandwidth, we can clearly see that it has always marked a major bottom in the market. So I do think there's currently a lot of opportunity for altcoins too. From here, probably a new big move higher is about to get initiated. So this is definitely not the time to be missing out on altcoins. Just look at the chart. Each time we hit these lows on the Bollinger Bandwidth, we can clearly see that big moves usually tend to follow here. So why would it be any different this time? This is an absolutely insane chart in my opinion, but just like Bitcoin, yes, it seems like markets are getting ready to make another big move to the upside. So guys, I'm getting quite excited. I hope you guys enjoyed today's update video, and I will see you guys within the next update video tomorrow.